Welcome to Eloise Behind the Scenes. If you haven't seen my short yet, who hasn't let things get a little out of hand? You really should. Spoilers for Eloise. We finished this. If you haven't watched this video, you should totally check out to see how I made this. And now, we're gonna make the barn. Like the farmhouse, I start by making a rough design based off Google references. I think I searched stuff like old barn and 1920 barns, but I can't remember. Next, I cut out the walls out of foam. This time I didn't make paper templates, which resulted in a little bit of redrawing, but it was fine. Noticing as I use hot glue with the foam, is it can distort the foam, which is okay. Just don't use too much, but it's one thing I'm noticing. I cut out the window of the barn, then begin the incredibly time-consuming process of texturing the walls. In between texturing, I add a white base coat to the wall to have a break from texturing. Then I'm back to texturing. Happy to be done with texturing, I start dry brushing the walls black, gray, and later on light brown. After texturing, I assemble the barn with painter's tape and hot glue. I also dry brush the edges to hide the blue painter's tape. Next, I start working on the roof with cardboard. I trim the boards and decide I want to add some more details to the roof, so I take the board I attached to the roof off and start cutting the details out of foam. After I attach the foam to the roof, I paint the roof a black base coat. Then I begin a mixture of brushing and painting them this metallic silver. This step was really fun. I had to hold back sometimes to not add too much. What can I say? Call me the stereotype of a Corvid, because I like shiny things. Yeah, apparently Corvids don't actually collect shiny things. Surprising. Anyway, after that step, I start to paint on this rust pigment I brought, letting some of that awesome silver shine through. Okay, so I combined that pigment. Here, let me show it to camera. To be honest, I don't really know what it is, but it says it's good with, it's a coloring powder. I think it said it was good with paint at one point, so I combined it with paint to get some like a lighter pigment stuff. To elaborate on past me, I combined the rust pigment with lighter colors of paint and went over the areas to add some depth. Then after that step, I added the roof on with some hot glue and painter's tape. After that, I started making a door and I realized something. So this is the point I've decided that I need a little bit of an interior. I was thinking about how I'm gonna have to redo and remake this whole thing again, because there's a shot where you see a little bit of the inside and the outside, but then you see the puppet. But then I thought, change it, just make it that you see a little bit of the inside and a light. And maybe even if we have to see a little bit of the puppet, I'd rather make a tiny puppet, and the shot will be far away, and the transition shot will be the actual interior. So I will have to remake the interior however I make this one, but it'll be better than this. So I would have very much wished to do this before I assembled it. Feeling a little overwhelmed, I soldiered forward and continued making the door out of foam, hot gluing the details to the doors. So right now I'm trying to figure out the mechanism to make the door open. I'm thinking I will put a beam. I'm gonna wait. I have to paint it, dry brush and all that stuff, but I'm just gonna test it first to see if it'll work. You can see I'm getting the rust powder everywhere because it's all over here. I continue assembling the door, then I begin the nerve-wracking process of cutting out a hole for the doors. Next, I start to paint the doors a black paste coat, but I remember I need to texture them, so I wipe off the paint and start adding the wooden texture. One thing I did earlier that I didn't mention when texturing, but I didn't do here, is texturing through plastic, which gives lighter indentations. After, I paint the doors a black base coat. I spent some time cleaning my station of that rust-colored mica powder, then start the tedious process of texturing the inside of the barn. Okay, I'm going to keep texturing this and start removing the tape. Hopefully it'll hold, but if it doesn't, I'm going to put hot glue with the help of this lovely tool my mom got me because of all the many burns I now have on my body. So let's continue. After I finish texturing, I decided it's time to make some DIY hay piles using 2 egg carton cups I cut apart and covering it with this rough twine using hot glue to keep everything. Then I start making a little back room out of foam that will go inside the barn. I cut it up, texture it, and attach it together using hot glue. Then I dry brush it black and start making some other details for the inside. Some wooden support beams, a deck, and a ladder, all made out of foam. After assembling everything, I decide I'd rather have the support beams, the deck, and everything inside to be brown, so I repaint it. And I dry brush it with what I believe was darker shades of brown. After sticking the deck in, it's time to do the ground. I I take a pre-cut piece of cardboard and begin painting the rust-colored mica powder onto the surface over some glue. Just seeing this makes me want to warn past me of the mistake she's making. But I'll save that surprise for later. I spray the ground with some static grass glue to help things hold, add some more powder, spray again, and after that I add some brown paint for color variation. Being impatient, I make a huge mistake and decide to blow dry the floor so I could finish it faster. Then I added a lot more different shades of paint for more color variation. I cleaned my station again of the rust-colored mica powder, then I attached the floor to the barn. I glue the hay pile into the barn, then trim the excess ground around the barn, and cut a secret surprise hole. That sounds weird. I glue the rest of the props down, the ladder, the 2 spare pieces of wood, then it's vegetation time. I dry brush the doors and the beam behind it a shade of gray. I hot glue the beam and add some vegetation to the doors. So, I just spent the last couple of hours cleaning the floor of mica powder, cleaning my feet with mica powder, cleaning the table with mica powder, which hopefully you'll notice now looks a lot less stained red, and cleaning my mom's yoga mat, and some of my tools, and yeah, there's only one more step. But I in the future, if I use mica powder, I think it's going to be outside of my driveway. The rust-infused mica powder water is perfect for some aging, so I brush it on the barn walls. Now it's time for the final shot. I love how this eerie barn turned out. All the aging on the metal roof and the walls look so great. I love the plants throughout it, and the addition of the back room with the light. It's just perfect. If you guys like this video, you'll love my new horror shorts, Eloise and Trick or Treat. I'll be posting more behind the scenes for both, and if you want to support me in the creation of these shorts, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and consider joining my Patreon. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!